and tidy edited down video, but I have ways for you to make it faster. You can click that little gear on the YouTube settings right there on the video and adjust the playback speed, make me sound like a chipmunk, and it'll go a lot faster. You can also look and see if there's timestamps for this project in the description, and if you're on a desktop, you can hover over the time bar at the bottom of the screen and see if it's chunked up into chapters, and then that way you can go directly to the step you're looking for. And lastly, you can also tap on the screen on the right hand side of the video picture or on the left hand side to make the video jump ahead, forward or backward if you're on a mobile device. And you can adjust that amount in your settings so you can have complete control over how much it jumps. So if you are on a desktop, you can use the fast forward or the rewind, and that will make it go faster as well. You can also enable subtitles, and the little CC on the screen will enable closed captioning. That way, if I am a little bit harder to understand with that double playback speed, the subtitles might help you out. All right, well, I know that it's not a nice little edited video, but if you sew with me, we'll get there together and it'll be lots of fun. And now for the live stream. Happy sewing! Hi. Okay, where's the camera? Okay, so this is so weird not to look at the screen, but I have my little sample here. How's it going? This is kind of a new setup for me, so I'm still getting used to how to use it and work it. I have my chat right here on my phone, so I didn't want it to start blasting you. So, tell me, is the audio working? Because I didn't test my microphones. I had too much to get ready today, and I remembered at the last second, so just let me know if it's not, or if it is. That would be helpful too. We're going to be mostly at the Serger and cover stitch today, so that's why I'm over here, or like the cameras are different. You're seeing the other side of my office. Audios. Thank you, Chantel. Thank you. It looks like you guys are talking to each other, so I'm just going to not respond to that. Hi Marlies, hi Aisha, hey Blair, hey Shem, hey Terry, hey Susan. Coat Project, hey Adrian, and hi Chantel. Thanks for telling me about the audio. Hey Sue, how's it going? Okay. Yeah, you're talking about your code stuff. Okay, cool. All right, so I didn't get to cut out anything yesterday because like I said, I had to meet someone to deliver something and I had to drive kind of a little bit. But right before I left, I cut this out in some scrap knit that got dyed by some jeans and just sewed it together really quickly. All I did was do the side seams, and then I did the bra on the inside too. So you can see, here's the bra. So I did the side seams. I'm still kind of adjusting this. I was gonna wear this for you, and then I was like, you know, I'm not in the mood. So this is how it's going. Now, I am very much squishier than my dress form. And this actually, surprisingly, fits me better than the dress form. I'm bigger than my dress form now too. It's a custom dress form. So you can really see my hip tilt in this. Can you see how the fabric just pools back here? This is the story of my life. Like I always have had a belly, but because of this, it makes my belly even more prominent, right? And everything just, it's just like, it just can't relax back here. It just pools because I have this curve right here. So I was thinking, oh, I'm just going to trim this because the best way to deal with a hip tilt or sway back or whatever you want to call it is shortening the garment, right? You don't need all this fabric pooling there. Or if you need the length, you make it bigger back here. You can also shorten it at the top. There's lots of little ways to deal with it depending on what you're sewing, right? And when I tried this on again, I was like, you know, it's actually not that bad. It looks way worse here. And that's probably like due to like when you're getting a scan for a dress form, maybe the posture is a tiny bit different than what your real posture is. You do a 3D scan, but there can be errors there. So all in all, it's really good. But I do like where all this was sitting. I like the coverage I've got here. I think the bra could be longer when I'm wearing it, and this could be tighter. So I'm going to cinch the elastic up to, like at 2 inches. And I don't need this chunky elastic. I want something a little narrower, so I'm going to use something like a 1/2 inch. Hi, Jessica. They're all talking about coats in there. So I'm going to show you the change I made to the pattern. And then I'm going to sew 2 today. I'm going to sew 1 with fold over elastic as the trim at the top and the strap. And then I'm also going to use fabric, and that one's a little fussier, but I like the result a little better. And one's going to have a bra and one's not, because I don't really want the bra. So I was limited on my fabric choices, especially with what my fold over elastic will match. So unfortunately, the one that has the shelf bra that I have enough fabric to do, maybe I should have done the red one. That's the one I'm going to use with fold over elastic. So it may be a little thick for that. We'll see. It's not the whitest stuff. So I'm always happy to experiment on my garments. So let me show you the pattern changes I did on this. And actually, I moved my camera over here to the serger. This isn't really big enough. Let's see. I can't move this too much further back, but we're going to move it right there. And then I'm going to zoom out a little bit. You're surprised. Oh, right, exactly. Well, I'm a little focused right now. And you're here to talk about sewing, so that's not a distraction in my book. All right. So this is my front. I'm just looking at, I have to look at the screen to see what you can see over here. I'll leave that up. So there's my front, right? And here's my back. So I left the front the same, and to get an extra, this is what I decided to do. I decided not to shorten it. On me, it isn't as long as it looks here, and I'm going to keep the length. I can always shorten it, right? So I'm going to keep the length, but I'm going to increase the back girth across this lower portion here so that it falls away from the body, and maybe I get less of this pooling, right? So what I did was I added 1.25 inches right here at the lower side seam, at the fullest part, which is going to give me 2.5 inches more across the back. And then I took the front and I laid it on here at that little mark, that 1.25 inch mark there. And then I blended it up here at the top. And then I traced this line, whoop, and I got this new contour. Now the only change that ended up having to happen was this made this seam a little bit shorter than the front, and so I had to lay this because I didn't add paper to the bottom, otherwise I would have left it the same, but I didn't mind losing a little bit of length. It was like a fat 1/8 of an inch. It wasn't very much. So then once I had this nice new side seam that's the same, I'm not really going for the exact same shape, even though it is the same shape. I'm going for the same length, and I don't really want to add anything. I could have also flattened this out, but I don't need to. I'm really narrow here. I'm fuller here. So if anything, it could have kept this narrow area here and swung out there. But I'm going for like a loose camisole, right? So then when I did this, and I noticed this was a little bit longer than this one here, I laid this one onto the front, and I just trimmed it right here. So then I made sure. And when you're lining up your seams, you have to line it up at the seam line. And I always explain this, but really, you know, if you drew your seam allowance on here, this little juncture right there, that's where you want to line it up, right here at that 3/8 of an inch or whatever your seam allowance that you chose is. So that's how I decided to deal with this. I could have also shortened, I explored like, oh, I'm going to shorten the back really drastically. You can see this little red mark here. And then I'm going to shorten the front less, right? And if I had wanted to blend, can you see all that? These two lines here, I would lay these on top of one another as if they're sewn, right? Overlap it at the seam allowance right here. Here's this new short line. This is a really drastic change, right? And this happens with a hip tilt. This is how a lot of my garments look. They will look much shorter in the back when they're sitting here flat on the table, but on my body, they look level to the floor. So this is such a good example of never shaming someone for their size or their issues, because if you saw this on me, you wouldn't ever know I have this hip tilt because my garment would fit better, right? But if you saw my pattern, you'd be like, whoa, what crazy pants thing is happening there? So it's just really none of anybody's business. You do what works for you, and it doesn't really matter what the pattern piece looks like. It matters what it looks like on you, right? So if I wanted to shorten my camisole and get rid of all of that fabric in the fullest part of my body, lower than the waist there, like I just wanted to go just past my waistband of my pants, and I chose this, and then I didn't need to shorten as much in the front. If I did, it would be way too short, because remember, this hip tilt is like, it's pushing my fabric up the back, right? Then I would blend this in. You lay these two pattern pieces on here and blend it in like this. And yeah, my pattern pieces would look like interesting on the table, but they would fit me really good. So if you want to do that, that's also a really great solution. So anyway, level with the floor is what you're going with. That's about it. All right. Let me cancel out of this here. And let me catch up on chat a little bit. Project Rainbow Scamp. Hi at Project. Oh, I don't know. Oh, I didn't see someone say. Is that someone new, Danny? Sorry, I wasn't looking at chat. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Oh, hi. It just popped on. Is there a particular sewing pattern for this camisole project? I've been looking forever for a built-in shelf project. I drafted it yesterday. Oh, thank you for telling her that, or them that, Danny. I drafted it yesterday using a t-shirt pattern. So if you have a t-shirt pattern that you've either worn, that you bought, or you have a t-shirt pattern in your pattern stash, you can use it to draft the camisole. And it's yesterday's live stream. The thumbnail looks really close to this one. It just says draft a cami, not sew a cami. Okay, and they're still talking about coats. Got it. All right, Anna's talking. Okay, let's do this. All right, so I'm a little turned around being over here. It's really, really weird not being able to see the screen too. So I'm going to do this one here with a shelf bra and some fold over elastic, and then elastic in the bra. That's what I decided. And I just want to be really clear. There's so many different ways to sew these things. And I know that, but I'll try and cover a few as we go, or give you some options if you're like, well, I don't have a cover stitch, or my machine hates sewing elastic. I have so been there on all of these things. And if you've been here for very long, you know that I am a firm believer that you do not need a serger or cover stitch in your sewing room. I think like you can do a lot with your single needle, even sewing knits. And I know it's a really unpopular opinion, but I will definitely go to toe with anyone who says otherwise, because it's true. You really don't need a serger for doing everything, but it's very nice, very convenient, and it does make it a lot easier to sew things faster or things that are stretchy. So, all right, so here's my little bra. And then the other thing I'm gonna do today is I'm gonna sew a camisole without a bra, and I'm going to use fabric as the binding and straps. And I need to starch this. So what do you guys want to do first? Do you want to do the shelf or the fold over elastic, or the fabric binding first? Do you guys have a preference? Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I know exactly what Kenmore that is. That is the, Oh, perfect. Yeah. Use your tonic tea. SBCC. What's SBCC? What pattern company is that again? Hi, Barbara. How's it going? SBCC. Which one is that? I know once you say it, I'll be like, oh yeah, okay. Yeah, just use the t-shirt. That it'll go really quick too. I gave 2 kind of methods to draft it, so. I feel like I clipped along yesterday too, so even though it's a couple hours, you can watch it at faster speed. I don't get too off track. Not the nicest company name. Oh, okay. I'm trying to think. Sometimes I'm so naive, it's embarrassing. All right, I have a pattern review show this Friday. I'll ask them there. They'll tell me. Okay, you know what's funny, Shim, is that I watched elements of my other Camisole uploaded video that I recorded for sewing the Luna loungewear, and it's just not a great video. I could do so much better now. So it kind of made me go, okay, I didn't think there was much more I could do about this because I just don't feel like I'm I don't sew knits 100% on my channel all the time. And I think the more you sew them, the better you get and the more tips and tricks you get dealing with what machines you have and the materials you have available to you. And I'd get back there if I just did it a lot. And I used to have to do a lot of prototypes for clients for factory sew buys and things. But I don't do that right now. So I don't feel like I'm the best resource. However, I do feel like I could do a better video than that one that I did. So maybe I'll revisit this. You're not saying you guys have a preference then. So I have white thread on the machine. So I don't know why I even asked. I don't even know why I asked your opinion because I put white thread on here and you know how I hate threading needles on the camera. So all right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to overlock my side seam. So how is the visibility over here? Is this good? Like, can we see under the needle? I don't think I can zoom in further. So, thanks, Terry. I'm thinking about trying to figure out how to disable my lights in my serger. Why does this feel like such an awkward angle? I don't like bonking that cord. There's something about this camera that keeps deactivating lately. All right. So we have my front here. And we have my back. And you know what's really funny is when I went to adjust this Camisole hem that I was just showing you about, I almost did it upside down. It was very symmetrical. Now it's very obvious to me. All right, so we're just going to do our side seams. I'm going to give you a trick that I hardly ever mention here. It's not going to matter on this project, but if you say you're serging a garment that has sleeves, right? My tip is always to put the front of your garment facing up. That way that if you have noticed your serging looks different from one side to the next, then you'll know when you are at that juncture to set your sleeve in, you'll be like, oh, I can easily identify which is the front of my garment because I can see that serging there. I used to be really good about doing that all the time. It won't matter here because, well, it'll matter a little bit because of the shelf bra, but God, this fabric is so slinky. All right, I didn't chest my thread. I need to tighten up my tension here. And I want you here and you there for now. And let's see if that helped. No, we're going more. Yikes. So what I'm seeing right now is, do you see these little threads sticking past my, let's see, can you see that? Can you see that? The little threads sticking past my cut edge there. I'm trying to tighten that up. So my 2 right hand loopers right here, that's going to tighten that edge up. That's pretty standard on most sergers. And it may only be that one of them needed to be tight. They're really tight now. Like I'm at that max range. But it did help. And then I also narrowed the width down a little bit of the seam. That's what this was right here. That click, click. Is it vibrating very bad? How's the vibration look? Yeah, exactly. Start wherever you don't need to rethread. All right, so we love our slinky knits to wear. We really don't enjoy sewing them. Right, Jim, yeah. Yeah, I used to have to do a lot of knits for prototypes, and that I liked my old machine for it, but I had to convert back and forth between the overlock and cover stitch. But it did a more, I don't want to say professional stitch. That's not what I'm going for. It did a stitch that looked closer to a factory, and that was more important because you can't submit anything to a factory. Most of the time it doesn't look a lot like what they're going to sew. Otherwise they question it. They're like, what's this? I don't understand this, you know? So. Camera isn't shaking. Seriously? Sometimes my machine right now is shaking, my main machine. I cannot get this over here, can I? There we go. I can't wait for you guys to see what I made in this knit. This is leftover fabric. Oops, these aren't the best scissors. It looks a little better, yeah. See, so see how the original stitching, these little threads were sticking past the edge there. That's why I tightened up my looper. And normally I have like a piece of scrap fabric I would normally test that with, so that was just irresponsible of me. Okay, so we have our main camisole together. Now we're gonna put the bra together. And I put a little shape at the bottom of mine because it's my camisole and I can do whatever I want. So let me show you that if you didn't see yesterday. I wanted more depth right here, so I added this little swoop. And now let's see if I can figure out what the top is and what the bottom of this is, because I don't think that it's the straighter edge. Okay, yeah, I don't think I notched this one. So now for this one, I'm going to overlock with the back facing up because I'm going to flip these seams. Well, does it really matter if I do that? Well, whatever. Why does this look like this? That doesn't look good. Okay, whatever. One thing about this machine is the little thread guide here, there was a little one right here. It pops in there and it just keeps popping out. So I don't have that in my machine now. Oh, you know, one other thing I wanted to say is, you know how I made my bra a little bit wider around than the camisole? So be careful doing that. One thing I didn't think about is that you don't want to create so much fabric that doesn't get used around, you know, the bust, that there is fabric for the outer camisole to get hung up on it. Because I saw that a little bit today and I was like, oh, is that going to be an issue? And I thought, you know, once I have this elastic tighter and I'm not using this knit that I did the sample in, I think it's going to be fine. And I'm basically, you know, sewing my final version right off the bat. Hey, Julie, how's it going? I'm just now starting. All right, so here's my bra. Here's the side seams sewn. And now I need to decide, where's my elastic at? How I'm going to attach my elastic. So I didn't really like that really wide elastic. Oh, I forgot to cut this. Let's see. I want to make this 2 inches smaller. I have a ruler on the front of my machine. That's why I'm holding it up over here. All right, this is 3 inches smaller. It'll be fine. I'm going to take this to my regular machine and I'm going to sew this together in half. I'm going to sew a seam right here. And then I'm going to open up the seam allowance and I'm going to stitch on either side, just kind of flat. I'll show you in just a second. It's blue thread, so you'll be able to see it. All right, so I did my seam here, right? Now I'm going to open this and I'm going to stitch it down nice and flat. I want my elastic in a circle. This is definitely not an industry thing to do. They would have put this on with one side seam of the camisole open. They would overlock the elastic to it. They would put the bra on. They would do all of it, and they would go all the way up the side seam, all the way through the bra, all of it. So, all right. So see, I opened it, so it's nice and flat. That's the only reason I'm doing that. If you don't do this part, make sure you sew that first seam really, really, strong. You're going to overlock it too. It's not going to be a big deal. Or you're going to zigzag it. So there we go. This is not very stretchy stuff. Jeez. This is why I don't like this elastic. I hope that's going to be fine. All right. I like braided elastic for everything. All right. So for the bottom here, we want to make sure all of your edges have smooth transitions at the seams. So see how there's a jog right here? Here, let me cover up the seam, the tail here. See how there's a little jog? Smooth that out now. You can try and trim it as we attach the elastic, but you don't want to nick your elastic, and you're in danger of doing that. Let's just check this one. This one matches better. You're struggling with where to put the keyboard. I struggle with the exact same thing. That's why I liked my old keyboard. I just swapped my keyboard out the other day. I liked it because it was so tiny. I want one of those little gaming ones, but they're really, really expensive. But I want a small keyboard for here. All right, I'm gonna overlock this to, let's put some marks here, actually. I'm looking for a marker here. All right, so I'm gonna get a marker here. We're gonna put this in quarters. All right, so I'm gonna mark it in half. Do both sides just in case you're seeing the other side. And then now do the other halfway points. We're gonna slightly stretch this as we sew. And we need some milestones, some landmarks. All right, and we're gonna do the same here. Oh man, it's like sewing with a tissue. It's like wrangling a tissue. Okay. We're going to stack the side seams here. I just recorded a video, and you know what I did? I went out at the center things like a Big 4 pattern has the triangle notches that stick out from the edge. I have to say, it was so nice in the video. I might do that more often. It was so visible, you know? Like even when I was editing it, I was like, okay, even I'm enjoying this a little more. Okay, I'm just finding that halfway point there. I could just nip across it. That's what I normally do, but I'm not going to today. I normally do. All right, so now we have this edge marked. I'm going to put the elastic here, and I'm going to push my seam allowance towards the front. And that's because I want it to nestle with the camisole at the top edge and be as low volume as possible. So, yeah. Okay, wait. You need a voice to text and you just yell pug. A lot of machines. Yeah, try using 4 cameras with so many areas. It's hard. All right, I'm also going to move this lump here. I'm going to move it, no, this is fine. This is fine. This is fine. Okay, we're going to put it, I'm just going to put it like right there. All right, now when you put this in the machine, you know, actually I want to sew from this side. I'm going to sew from the fabric side. We're going to line that up, and you can drop your your knife on your serger. That's a great idea. I don't know why, but I don't like doing that, and I should do that, but I just don't. So, but if you drop your knife, then you're not going to trim anything right now. All right, we're going to put this in here, and I just usually leave my presser foot down and I just lift it up like this. Let's actually lift up the needles here. I'm going to go on it. Now, wait, I'm feeling out of sorts here. It's so weird when it's like my same machine and everything. I haven't sat down and serged in a few years. Ask my stream. I've been standing and doing it, and it feels really weird to sit and do this. All right, so we're going to put this under here. Now, when you do, I always give this lecture, when you are stretching something, you need to stretch, then sew. Do not sew, then stretch. You can break the needle. So basically what I'm saying is we're going to match up the center, right? We're going to hold this. And I like to hold behind as well to kind of give it some stability, especially since I haven't started sewing yet. Once I started sewing, it'll be a little bit better. But you see how much I'm going to stretch right here? So we're going to pull this, stretch it, and then sew. And we're going to do a little bit. So I'm just going to get it going before I start stretching. We're just going to get it going. Get it under there. All right, and now you can use binder clips. Don't use pins. Break yourself of that habit. It's just better in the long run. So now my needles are down right now. I'm going to pull this. I have this little shape, so it's going to be fussy. Of course, it's folding and sticking to itself back here. And we're just going to kind of find a halfway point. Now I'm going to let go of that and finagle this. I'm going to lift my presser foot. See how this is pulling away right there? I'm going to press this up and just shove it towards the edge better. And now I'm just going to hold it there. So now I have this stretched. I'm going to give myself some stability back here so that I'm not pulling on the needle. I'm pulling between my two hands right now. And you're going to keep that stretched while you sew. Just hold it static. I'm still trying to get this little edge closer to the elastic there. It wants to push it away. There we go. It still wants to push it away. It's probably this fabric or this elastic. All right, so now we've got a little bit, and now we're going to do the same thing for this section. And you just kind of do this all the way around. Do it in quarters, stretch, line up, hold at the back. And so I use my thumb a lot. I know it sounds like a lot, but it really helps. If this is just so fiddly and it just, you may want to pull your hair out over it, tack it on your regular machine. Just tack it in all of those 4 spots. Your side seams and your centers. Just tack it, just like 3 stitches in the seam allowance. It's like a gift to yourself. And I'm going to do that during the one of the binding steps. All right, so same thing here. This elastic is really icky. I do not like it. It barely stretches. Hope it goes over me. I just couldn't find any white and braided this width. It really wants to push. You know what? I'm going to lessen my presser foot presser right here. Presser foot pressure. Okay, wait. I can't see chat as well over here, you guys. I'm sorry. What are you asking? Last one. Have you ever had issues with how braid elastic narrows and stretch versus? Then it's stretching too much. It's either stretching too much or you're trying to put. I have had that issue. Or you're trying to put too much fabric in there. Try using a draw cord with it to help, or cutting down the volume at the point where the elastic is going to be. Like taper it when it gets to that point. I know you probably want the volume of the whole project. This fabric or this elastic is just icky. Don't like it. I'll read chat in just a second. Let me concentrate on this for a second. You probably can't see what it's doing. It's just pushing my fabric off of the elastic. All right, look, I didn't even get that all the way there. All right, let's finish here. You didn't realize I was standing and surging all that time? Yeah. Okay, wait, what's the next question? Did I get it? It seems like non-roll. I know it came in probably a project someone sent me. And I just used my own elastic. Okay, we're almost to the beginning. Okay, it's going a lot better now. Maybe that pressure change helped. Stop pushing it away. Try not to cut your threads. I got a little farther in because I was looking at something else. So just run your blade along your stitching here. Don't cut anything. And then try and go off at an angle. And I leave a little tail because I'm going to tack it under. And so this is what we have here. You know, part of this is that my stitch length is really short right now. It could be a lot longer. There we go. It's okay. The elastic is not doing my project any favors. So, new subscriber. Thanks for subscribing, Mike. Why is it pushing off? There's probably a few reasons. It's probably the way the fabric is interacting with the elastic. There's something about that interaction that's pushing the elastic off. So have you ever changed feet on your basic, your home sewing machine, and your basic foot, you know, if you look at the underside, it'll be like flat with a little area carved out right in front of where the needle hole is. If you looked at your buttonhole foot, there's those two channels for the buttonhole. If you if you look at all your feet, you'll see that that is part of the engineering of how your fabric is going, and your project and your stitch is going to feed through the machine. It's the same here. You don't really change out your foot for your serger. So this is probably a really smooth foot. Yeah, it's a pretty smooth foot. There's something going on right around here. And between that and the grooves of the elastic and the tissue-like quality of the fabric, it's just going to probably just like, it's a combination of things that isn't really very compatible. That's why I reduced the pressure of my presser foot. I sew with a lot of pressure. It usually is really great. But if there's too much pressure, what's happening is that it just can't get up onto, it's like pushing so hard, it's just pushing things out of the way. So it can kind of not be helpful. So. Oh, I didn't see someone say hi. Hi, Patrice. How's it going? All right. I think I would like to use my single needle machine to tack this down, and I would recommend doing the same, meaning my straight stitch. So I usually, like, I have a little loop right there, like a little fold right there. I would usually fold it and just top stitch it down, right? You could use your cover stitch. We're going to use my regular machine, which means that I'm not set up over here for it, which is kind of an issue. Yeah, we're just going to move the camera over. I might lose this camera for a second, like it might deactivate. Sorry, I should have warned you that I was about to take you on a roller coaster ride. That went pretty good, though. All right. I have my books out for my skill building session on Friday. me get some cream thread in here. I'm using so many spools of cream thread right now. I'm using 8 spools. All right. Dang it. Never see that spool again. Do I not have a cream bobbin? Well, that's, oh yeah, I do. It's in the machine. Oh, that's funny. I didn't realize that. Barbara, hi, yikes. Yeah, I know. We are supposed to get another system this weekend. It's like, I hope I don't either. I really want to, because, you know, we're getting close to this month's SBS. So, all right, so I'm just going to single needle this down. So we're going to fold this over and we're going to top stitch from the front. Let's get rid of this little lump there. Put it in line. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to stretch this, hold it, stretch, and I'm also going to pull the fabric like this. See how I'm sliding it? And that's so that we don't have the fabric kind of blump like this, right? I'm exaggerating, right? We want it nice and smooth. It makes it look really good. So we want to do that. All right, so I'm going to stretch this, hold it stretched, then sew it. Stretch, hold it, and I'm sliding that fabric nice and taut. We're going to put this little serger tail inside there. If you have a lot of fabric that you're trying to gather in, you know, see how these little folds right here are like that? When I stretch it like this and hold it taut, you see how they disappear? That's what you want. You don't really want to immortalize these like this at an angle, right? That's why we're holding it taut. See those? God forbid it blumps. Are you teasing me, Julie? Blumps are really only okay when you're making like blueberry or blackberry blump. Yeah, I know it's not called that. Okay. My poor parents, they got stuck in that snow so bad. They had to hire someone come and dig them out. All right, you need to stop vibrating like that. Okay. Oh, I kind of changed where I was stitching that at the beginning. Look at that, it's not very even right there. I'm so not thrilled with this elastic. I can already tell. You can see, can you see, like, look at that. It's just kind of like, you know. I wanted a little bit more gathering, but it looks stretched out. Materials make a difference, right? All right. All right, let's just, since we're over here and I can see everything. All right, so now we have our camisole here, right? We have our bra, and I'm gonna put this face out towards the body, right? So wrong sides together. So I'm gonna attach this. Oh, welcome, Sewtritionist. I am using this right here. This machine in particular is an industrial Juki, and it's the 8700-7. You can get it as an 8700 as well. If you're really interested in using an industrial machine, I do have a video about it. It's quite a chunky video, but it will tell you the difference. Like, Do you want the electronics or not? And this one has the electronics, which means that right now with my heel, or like my foot's on the pedal down below the machine, and when I tilt my foot back like this, like when I lift my toes up or dig my heels in, it's going to lift the presser foot. See that? And so when I go to sew, I can be completely hands-free so I can hold my work, right? And so now we're going to sew. Now, I can also put on an automatic back tack. So every time I start to sew, it'll go doo-doo, it'll do the little back tack and then sew. I do it by hand. There's a little back tack thing right here, and then there's a bigger thing right here, and then I can never show you this thing. It's really hard. I show it in the video, right? So, but the other cool thing my machine does that I really, really love is that when I'm done it always stops needle down as well, which is really good. There's a lot of pressure. Now I'm going to do the same thing with my heel, and I'm going to dig in a little harder. And so what it did was it cut the thread, lifted the presser foot. It just kind of spits it out. So that's all electronics. And then it looks like you have this little, you don't have the Stream Deck. I have a Stream Deck sitting here. But under here, there's a little panel. You can see it in that video. I go over all of it. And there's also, I have two videos about the industrial machines. One of them pits one machine with electronics against another one without them. So you can see the difference and how I'm reacting to it. Like, oh, I miss this with this machine. I don't with the other. So, yeah, nah, Patrice, this is elastic. You should be able to stretch and get return. This elastic is just icky. Like if I were using braided elastic, it would be fine. You'd get all the return. If it was a really heavy fabric, yeah, your fabric's going to stay stretched out a little bit, and you need to compensate and make the elastic a little smaller. And then you can get the problem of like what Anna was mentioning. You can get the not tunneling, but the folding, and that is usually either too much. Like the fabric is overstretched, right? So it's either having trouble with the thickness of the fabric or there's just too much volume, you know? So, you're welcome. I love my industrial machine, so you got to be careful. If you ask me questions, I go on and on about it. Wait, what are we jealous about? Oh, your car. Oh, congratulations, Aisha. That's exciting. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping too, Patrice. I hope it, I honestly don't think it's, I think it's just the elastic. I hope it softens. It just feels, you know what I'm hoping for? This is what I'm hoping for. I think because I sewed this, I made my own pattern. I measured exactly how I wanted it to fit. It's going to be a non-issue because it fits me, right? But if this was like a more of a generic size, and I'd used this, it'd probably be either too tight or stiff on someone else, not stretch enough, or too loose and stretched out, right? So I'm hoping that I'll be okay. All right, I'm just gonna put a few clips in here, just because I want to sit at this machine a little longer. Now I'm gonna line up my side seams here. And I'm going to put the camisole side seam pressed towards the back, but the shelf pressed towards the front so that they nestle together right there. And I'm just going to tack this. Just do yourself a favor and tack it. We're not production sewing, so we're allowed to do stuff like that. They would actually be allowed to do that. All right, so now we have that tacked. We could have our points tacked right here, right? Let's get this lined up a little better. Stop letting it bullying me, you know? Because this is how it's going to end up. And I was thinking that it would look nice with the bra. Look at this, the shelf. It's just, ugh. I was thinking that it'd be nice if the right side of the fabric faced the inside. You could face it to the outside, but it's really not an ideal shelf fabric because it's a print and it's going to show through the fabric. This is definitely a sample. I'll wear it, but you know, I'm just trying to find this edge here. If your knit rolls, my sympathies. Use starch. I'm going to use some starch later for the crosscut bands. I think that'll help. All right, this is the band. So this goes to the front and this one goes to the back. All right, just like this. We're just going to bypass these binder clips and tack it all. Tack it inside the seam allowance. My seam allowance is going to be pretty narrow because it's going to be that fold over elastic. I love binder clips, but I end up just doing this most often. Just tacking it. All right. So now we have our whole top edge secured around, all the way around with the bra on the inside, wrong sides together. And we're ready to use the, we're ready to put the binding on. Let me use my words, huh? Let me set up this machine really quick. I'm using this kind of this cheap fold over elastic too. All right, look away if you get seasick. Someday we won't have to do this. I think I might have to swap machines. I think that's one thing I haven't figured out something to do, something, a workaround for. There we go. All right. All right, so now we have our like there. Not good. That's good, right? Where's my little piece of fabric to practice with? Here it is. Let's check it out. I just threaded it so my threads are still above my presser foot, and you want them to go down into that hole, right? So we're just gonna get it going here. Can you let go? There we go. All right, that looks pretty good. It's nice and elastic, right? Oh, I haven't done this in so long. I'm a little nervous. Where's my top edge here? All right, the thing I'm gonna do is, I was just thinking that maybe I would like a label. Do I want a label? Oh, I also need to mark my straps. So I have a little cut notch right here, and you can't probably see this, but do you see this little notch right here? That's where I want my strap to go. Thanks, Patrice. It's always more awkward when I do the sergers and cover stitches. Where did it go? There it is, right here. And then here's this one here. There we go. I have to mark that right now because I'm about to bind over it and I won't see that little marking anymore. Oh, this is another place where we can tack our elastic on. I keep losing my top. I don't understand how I can lose it. Here we go. Here it is. So I'm going to cut a little piece off. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to tack this fold over elastic to this edge. I'm going to go like this. I'm going to tack it just like that, right across that little edge right there on my machine. So since we're not production sewers, we can do this. This is really helpful. It's still fiddly just doing this, you know. I'm going to use my awl to hold it in place. It'll help a lot. All right, so let me get my awl. All right, so you see that I just tacked that in place there. Am I making this look fiddly or what? There we go. See? All right, and so now I'm going to put it under the machine. Can't roll. Hey, Amy, how's it going? Let me move my chat right here so I can just see you guys. Okay. So now what I like to do is I do this from the right side, meaning the outside of the garment. So this is the outer camisole, right? And I have my elastic like flat here. And I'm going to stick this in the machine. And I'm also using really narrow fold over elastic. I have my needles, so I have 3 needle positions up here. And I have my 2 needles in the far left too. Or you could do it in the far right too. My point is that I have them, the 2 closest together. I don't have them on the outer slots. Some cover stitch only have 2 slots, so it doesn't matter. But I need this narrow setting. If you have extra fold over elastic, I think fold over elastic is a really hard thing to have extra of. I say give yourself a long tail back there. I didn't, just because I'm trying to make it more realistic. Because then you have something to hold on to back there, and I think that's really, really helpful when you get going. So let's line up these edges here. And I'm going to put this cut edge right in the crease of the fold over elastic. So you can, it's very visible, right? So as long as I know that that fabric is right up to that crease, and that's why we're doing this from this side, now I can just fold this over like this and sew it. So it's going to probably be a little ugly at the beginning, but we're going to cover that with our other binding later on. We're just going to get going. And be prepared to grab this little tail to kind of get it going. Sometimes I have to, so. All right, now we're good, we're going, right? So I'm just gonna gently pull this fold over elastic, right? I'm not gonna pull the camisole, I'm gonna pull the elastic a little bit. And like I said, I'm setting that cut edge right up to the fold, then I'm gonna fold it over, and this hand is gonna keep this pushed in there and just this static so that I'm not yanking on the needles or anything. What if you don't have this hard thing is, you can use a zigzag. Same things, same exact steps. Zigzag, I actually really like the way zigzag looks. I used to have that thing where it's like, oh, it doesn't look store-bought, but I actually love the way it looks now, and I think it's far more charming than looking ready to wear. See how, look at that, see this, I'm gonna pull. See, it's nice having this tail here, right? I just hold it static. Static means it stays exactly the same. Like you're not pulling it further. You're staying, static means it's not moving. All right, there we go. So that's our top edge there. Looks really nice. And this is the other side, which looks, it looks okay. I didn't get perfectly on the edge the whole time. But there's no, at least there's no raw edge with this. All right. So now we're going to trim this so that it's flush, just like that. Don't let that get into your serger. Same with this side here. Trim those edges so that they're nice and flush. And now we're going to do the other side. Let's get rid of this tail here. So now this time we're going to, let me show you how we're going to do this. We're going to do this last step all in one. So we're on our last step of this top edge here. So here we go. Here's our camisole edge, right? Let's see, what does that look like? Okay, so there's our camisole edge, right? And here's our back. So this is how we're going to do this. We're going to start, remember the strap is going to connect here, and it's also going to connect here. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with a long strap, right? We're just going to start with our strap, and then we're going to go along here. So we're going to sew this elastic together for a pretty, where's the camera? Like for a long length. I've already measured my length. I think it was 14 inches or something like that. So I'm going to give myself a nice long strap, and then I'm going to go onto the garment here, go around across the back, all the way to the front. We're going to go off this edge, and then you have to keep going because you need that for your strap. So just keep going that length that you need. If you want to pre-cut your elastic, go for it. Give yourself like an inch at either end to hold on to, though. It really, really does help. And if you're like swimming in fold over like I am, because I use this cheap junk, you can give yourself a little bit extra just to be able to adjust your straps, because we're just going to tack the straps down in the top seam there after it's sewn. And then so you have some opportunity to play with that strap length. All right. So I'm going to look at this stuff. It is, look at how, can you tell? See how wavy this is? This edge right here is so tight. So I'm just going to loosen it up a little bit. It's a good idea to do with elastic anyway. I think this spool was like $5. They sell this for making hair ties. All right, so what did I figure this out was going to be? I feel like it was 14 inches. 14 inches? What was it? 14 inches? Well, we'll just give ourselves quite a bit, all right? And so when I get to this point here, that's when I want to go onto the garment, all right? So that's my guide. So we're going to just start folding this and sewing it, just all by itself. I'm going to use my awl to kind of poke this in there like this and position it under my needles, which are a little too low. So there we go. I'm just kind of flattening them, and I'm actually, you know how there's this little window right here? I'm actually going to push it past that little window. I don't know about you guys, but that little window sometimes is a nightmare for things like this, because what'll happen is, I'm going to hold that with the awl and my finger. I feel like a contortionist sometimes. There we go. That little window, what'll happen is the elastic won't get past the window, right? Here's the back edge of the window. It'll go like this, right? And we want it to go under the foot. All right, so we're just going to start sewing. This is easy stuff, right? This is like we're getting our sewing legs under us. I'm going to gently pull it a little bit, just like stretch it a little bit. This is a really long, I gave myself a really long strap. I got a little off right there too. All right, so here we are. Now we're ready to put our garment here, and we're going to start with the left side here. The left as if you're wearing it, right? Now we're going to go on just like this. You got this. And we're going to use the awl to kind of control this and hold it all together as it goes under there. One of my needles went off the edge there, unfortunately. So now we're on, and now I'm just going to gently pull the elastic. You guys are so quiet, it makes me nervous. I'm going to gently pull the elastic, see that? Sandwich it, and then again, I'm just going to keep those cut edges pushed to that fold. This is way easier than it seems. Like, you guys, even when I'm imagining, oh, I'm going to be sewing fold over elastic today, wait, how do I do that again? Every single time. And then I start doing it and I'm like, oh yeah. Just break it down and, you know, be really simple about it. Don't be too, don't do a ton of pinning and all that, because those will just probably get in the way. And just remember that you're only controlling 2 inches at a time, right? So we just want that raw edge. You know, making these transitions nice and smooth is really key. You don't want to get to the right now and go, oh shoot, I should have trimmed that because this isn't going to cover it. You have so little seam allowance here with the fold over elastic. Like even my tacking, which is at 1/8 of an inch, is barely going to make it in there. So now at this thickness here, I'm going to use my awl and just hold this all down. What the danger is here is that the underside fold over elastic is going to like pull up a little bit and then it won't be covered. Get wider fold over. All right, so here's my little strap that eventually we're going to sew this onto. I can see my chalk mark, you probably can't. This cover stitch is so far away from me right now. All right, so I'm just gently pulling this. I want it to stay up, right? The straps will help, but giving it a little bit more tension is nice. Maybe not so much. I'm gonna get this like raw edge a little bit better lined up. Yeah, it's like sewing a Kleenex. You guys are watching close. That makes me even more nervous sometimes. All right, so it's so narrow. Maybe having another tack right here where my strap would have been a good idea. So when I feel like I'm fussing like that, let's do a shorter distance. Maybe I'm trying to do too much. Yeah, I think I'm pulling too much there. So it's the same with the zigzag. You're going to do these exact same steps with the zigzag. Or you can try a twin needle on a regular machine. My fear with twin needles is that they don't stretch very much, but I don't know. I hear them recommended by really reputable people constantly to sub in as a cover stitch, but I haven't tested that in a really long time, but I'm assuming that it can't be as stretchy because the point of a cover stitch is that there's no bobbin, and you can get a stretch stitch because it's a continuous thread. It's not a lock stitch, whereas like a home machine has a lock stitch. So it has the bobbin, and then that creates a less stretchy stitch. Hey Kira, how's it going? All right. All right, I'm just going to look at this edge, make sure everything's looking smooth. We're going to try and close that. That tacking right there. I have a, like that first little tacking. It's kind of far away. It might sneak out. Oh, same with here. See, it's a little messy right here. Let's trim that down. With the thickness, it is not going to play around. It's going to be like, nope. You can have one layer in the elastic, but not the other. Which one would you like? You're like, well, I want both. So. I can't believe it's already Thursday. This is, I just want you guys to know, especially if you're new here, I do not practice before streams. I want this to be a really like organic experience so that I come across anything that I might forget about that I can kind of share. This definitely makes me feel like, oh, now I just want to sew a lot of these so that I can get better at it again, you know? All right, now we're off the camisole and I need to measure a piece so I have enough for the strap, right? And I'm just gonna cut it off so I know. Home stretch, right? Yeah, I think you're right. I think zigzag is better. You've achieved a kind of stretchy stitch with the double needle. The bobbin does a zigzag stitch with it, but I've had way too much tunneling with one. Yeah, tunneling. Hey, Noemi, how's it going? Nice to see you. I drew pair ready for a tank top, but wait. Oh. The washing machine damaged the tank on the front. Oh. Oh, you mean it got damaged, so then you had to repair it? All right, let's inspect. This is the inside. I'm a little all over the place right there. Look at that one. I don't know if you can see it. It's okay. I would definitely get nicer fold over elastic. Something a little wider would be nice. All right, so now is the time that you're gonna want to determine your strap length, and we're gonna also cover stitch hem this, right? And so once you decide on your strap length, you're gonna cut it off, and we're going to lay it right back here, and we're just gonna top stitch it in the stitches here. So I think what I'll do is put mine on the dress form. Should we do that? Yeah, no worries. Contacting me again soon. What do you mean? Were you the one who emailed me recently? Oh, that was you. Oh, I didn't recognize your name. I remember thinking, this person sounds like they know me, and it's a different name though, right? Yeah, oh cool, okay. All right, so let's put this on my dress form. All right. Come here, Trixie. Let's see how this elastic looks too. The under the bust elastic. It's really cute fabric. I got this fabric, by the way, from Girl Charlie. That was my first time ordering from them, and what I liked about it, what kind of sold me on it, I needed a fabric with a really clear right and wrong side, is that it's supposed to look like watercolor, like incomplete watercolor. And I like that idea a lot. It takes like a minute to try on something in person. But when you're trying it on a dress form, it is like the most awkward thing. It still pulls back here, but I'm really hoping on me it's not going to do that. So let's see here. And then these straps, don't twist them. Let's see how the bra looks. I mean, it looks okay. It does look a little stretched out, right? On me, maybe it won't be. I really love this fabric. Okay. All right, so if I wanted to find this, where's that? There it is right there. So I'm gonna tug it a little bit because I don't want it to fall off my shoulders. So I just pinned it there, right? And I'm actually going to check it with the measurement I think that I picked. I'm also going to look and see how symmetrical I have this. I have this little whoop-de-doo here. Can you guys see that? So, can you see right here? I didn't really go onto it That's where I started. So it's a little bit of a bump. So having a little tail to hold on to when you go onto your first piece of fold over would help, because you can see my machine went, it pushed it like that. Yeah, maybe, Barbara. That's a good idea. I like that. And I think Patrice is right. Like, washing it is going to help a little bit. I don't have a whole lot about the, whole lot of hope about the elastic, though. I know I'm being really pessimistic about it, but it just, you know, I've seen my years of elastic. Okay. So I'm going to take this off now. And then going to measure this amount right here, because I want to know for future reference, right? Write this number down, you know? Ooh, that is actually spot on what it was supposed to be. Okay, good. I love it when that happens. And we came up with this measurement when we were drafting the pattern, because what we did was we had the camisole on the t-shirt that we were using as a starting point, and we could measure from that camisole point all the way over the shoulder of the t-shirt pattern, right? We could measure that, go over, and then go into the back to where the top of the camisole is in the back. And then that measurement right there. And depending on what fabric you're using, like if you're using or a trim, like if you're using fold over elastic, I'd probably take off like an inch of that amount so that there's some elasticity, right? There's a little bit of tautness. If you're using fabric, you might have to take off a lot more. Depends on your fabric. I have a feeling that you might have to take up to 3 inches off, maybe 2 to 3 inches, because that's going to be way more like, you know what I mean? So it's like if you imagined a piece of elastic that was 100 inches long and a piece of elastic that was 40 inches long, that 100 inches is going to feel like much more stretchy, right? Because you have more to stretch, and that's how the fabric will feel, I think. Okay, I was going to measure this side and make sure, I was going to see if they were symmetrical. That's what I was going to do. And they're not. So that could be real, or it could be me on the dress form. Okay, so I'm going to just cut this off now. I'm going to sneeze, aren't I? Did I just sneeze? I feel like I'm going to sneeze. All right. Whoops. All right, now we're going to take the strap, don't twist it. Oh, you know, the other thing you could do is crisscross straps if you want. So that's always an option, you know, like this. Like that. If you had a long enough strap, you could do a little crisscross. That'd be really cute. I'm gonna sneeze. Let's hope I don't. All right, right here is where my mark is. And here's my other one right here, like that. All right, so I'm gonna take this to my machine over here, and I'm gonna tack it right in the seam allowance, and then I'm gonna show you. Just because I'm not gonna set the camera up just for this 1/4 inch. I'm gonna stitch right where the cover stitch was. So right here, right? Didn't really get it lined up because I did it from the right side, but I'm just going to trim this now. I'm going to trim it with my good scissors. Could have done a little cleaner of a job. I double stitched it, so I stitched it in each of these rows of cover stitching. Okay, let's do this one here. Don't twist it. This is when it's really nice having the heel lift, right? All right, so then this one, and now we're gonna hem this camisole, and it's done. Except I still forgot a label. You may try this, cool. Yeah, like right, Terry? Me either. But you know, I like them under sweaters and things like that. I'm sorry, the camera's usually over there. I like them under sweaters and things, or maybe as an extra layer for warmth, or if I have a see-through top or something. It looks really cute though. I would have put my label like right here. I could have one hanging down from here, but I think I'll just skip it because it's not a reversible. It's not a carousel camisole. Oh, Christina commented on the video yesterday, and she said that Karina from Lifting Pins and Needles, what she does is that she'll make like one side of the camisole, you know, like this with these little points like this, and then the other side maybe is like a V-neck. So you have two completely different looks that you can then swap your camisole around for if you want. All right, so for the hem, I'm gonna go to the iron for this one. And I'm gonna pre-iron my hem. It's just one of those days, you know? All right, so we're gonna look at these transitions here at the side seam. Oh my gosh. I've never felt so left-handed in before in my life, and I'm not left-handed. There we go. A little awkward. I feel like I just created another spot. There we go. Okay, check your other seam. Okay, let's get that. Hi, Eliza. Well, I'm going to do another one in just a second. But this one, yeah, this one I just did with the fold over elastic. I just had it on my dress form, but the elastic is Funkorama. All right. Look at this elastic. It's so ridiculous. Sorry, I'll stop complaining about it. This little whoop-de-doo is a really annoying thing. See that? That's what I was talking about. You can do see my tacking right there. I'll get rid of that. All right, so I'm going to pre-iron my hem up. Oh, right, Anna, exactly. I know, I think about that, some of the things I've sewn, like the, was it the paper cut, pinnacle top. The pinnacle top, this is the front. The pinnacle top is so much deeper than you think it's going to be, and I have to wear a camisole under that. Same with my Piper boho tunic. It has a little slit neck. So yeah, I agree with you. I wear them a lot for things like that too. My husband assures me that you can't really see anything like a cleavage. But I'm like, yeah, well, I'm looking straight down and I'm seeing enough, so, you know. You can use starch for edges like this, and you know what I find is when you, like say you sprayed this all with starch, when you go to iron it, it will stick to itself. It's kind of cool. I'm very late to the starch game, So I know I sound like a noob about it, and I am. I just am. You gotta remember that most of my sewing training came with factory sewing, and you were not allowed to use stuff like anything, like any stuff like that. So there's a lot of really cool helpers. I just didn't get a chance to try. All right, so let's hem this. We'll be back over here soon because we're gonna do the binding for the other one. And I'm going to starch that within an inch of its life, you know? All right. Oh, those steamers are nice. I don't even think you need an iron when you have a nice steamer. I mean, if you're a sewer, you need it, but okay. So I can really see, I'm not sure you can, if you can, I can see my hem through the fabric, right? So when I do cover stitch hems, I get it. They are a little bit like, eek, I don't like doing this from the right side when all the party is happening on the back, right? One thing you can do if you want to cheat with it and you like this more athletic look is you can overlock this edge and then do your cover stitch from this side, and you'll get your cover stitch look on this side, and it looks like you get that kind of athletic look, kind of fake it. Thanks, Chantel. I think it passed. But the other thing, if you just want to do it the traditional way, you just want to get a little bit better at it, this is what I do. So I can see that raw edge under there, right? So now that's going to line up with my left needle, all right? Now I'm going to put my left needle right on top of it. I don't start right on a thickness too. I start behind it. So now I look over here where this fold is lined up, and there's grooves in my throat plate. If you don't have grooves, just use some like washi tape like this. This isn't even washi tape. This is a little stouter. Give yourself a nice long piece like this. Keep your fold edge aligned with this. Now, if you pre-ironed your hem and you were really careful and you made it a very even width, this is going to work perfectly. If you were like me and you're a little cavalier, you might have a little bit of raw edge showing on the inside. So, okay, let's get going. When I get to this thickness, I'm going to lift my presser foot up, let the fabric kind of snap back under there, go a little further, do the same thing. That thickness is just, you know, it's a problem. I can still see it torqued things a little bit and moved that away. So I'm going to go by my raw edge more than this tape because I wasn't very good about the ironing. But you want your left needle just off of the raw edge, or just like barely on that raw edge underneath. Or if you don't, yeah, I usually don't. I never did for prototypes. Isn't that funny? I found cover stitching a lot better on my old machine as far as some things go. All right, so now I'm approaching another thickness. Same thing, I'm gonna lift the presser foot up a few times, let it feed under there. Hey, Sydney. I didn't realize that was you that said that. I thought Patrice said that. 3 needle cover stitch can help. What can that help? I'm curious. Like that'll help the what is that gonna? What can that help? All right, so now when I get to the beginning, I'm going to trim all of these threads where I started, just flush. I'm going to sew right where I sewed the start and then finish off. This is how my serger does it, or my cover stitch does it. And then I cut these flush as well. 3 inches allow for more width, so you have more room for mistakes. Oh, I see what you're saying. You don't feel like it's the same dilemma? For me, I just don't want it to push and torque and do, like, you can kind of see it's like pushed a little bit. I do have long stitches there. Funny you should say that. Even a little tunneling right there. But that looks pretty good. I got off a little bit right here. This isn't a particularly wide stitch. I could have done my needles on the wider settings, but I didn't want to change that right now. So yeah, I think that looks good. All right, this one's done. So now we're gonna do the red one, and I'm gonna take all my binding here and we're gonna go starch it. So thank you for everyone for teaching me about starch. I'm sort of tempted to do an experiment where I use fusible tricot. You know, I really love the fusible tricot, but my fusible tricot isn't necessarily like stretchy. So it's basically just fusible. Was the, yes, with fold over elastic and the shelf bra, Eliza. I'm just looking for the wrong side of my fabric here. Just letting it dry too. Wait, is this is the wrong side, okay. I just cut a bunch of this stuff. Enough to do, I'm hoping, enough to do my whole camisole. We're not going to do the shelf bra on this one. So basically, we're just going to do the side seams and the binding. Like, we're going to go right into it. All right, so while this, why did I move that? I'm so new to this stuff. All right, I'm just going to leave that. We're going to go over here and we're going to change our thread to red. Thread to red. I don't actually have enough spools of red, which kind of surprised me. I could use orange to serge it together, you know. The tricot, what I was thinking is that if you, like, I've used the tricot in knits to stabilize the fabric, basically. And that's what I was thinking. I was like, is it a little overkill to fuse the tricot? Because honestly, the tricot isn't really stretchy. It is, tricot is usually used as a fusible for knits to maintain the stretch, right? But my fusible tricot, the stretch is the short way across the width of the roll, so it's like a narrow piece. And you want the stretch to go the long way of the binding, and that's not what would happen using it. But it still would give a little give, and it would really stabilize it. My fear is that you would have to cut the pieces to be the length you want them first. And you might have to ease your fabric into it. That's what I think. But it would be easier to sew. That's why I was thinking about it. You know me, I like an experiment. My thread's over on the ironing board. I don't know how I ended up with these as my reds. Look at this. I have three different spools of red thread. Okay. Yeah, it's just an idea, Elizabeth. I used it on the Scirocco jumpsuit at the, you know, because the Scirocco jumpsuit is a knit jumpsuit. And it has that wrap front. You know how it has that wrap front? And I was a little worried about that wrap front. I was like, oh, I'm always worried about wraps. And so I thought, oh, I'm going to be so clever and I'm going to use some fusible interfacing here. And I did cut down the length of that edge because it's like a folded over band. I cut it down. I shortened the length of it. It wasn't quite enough. I felt like it could be a little bit more. And while it did really offer a lot of stability there, I don't really feel like it was necessary. You know what I mean? I should, Eliza. I really should. I'm going to talk about that in the SBS tomorrow because I'm pretty cavalier about thread. Using a lighter weight thread in your serger and your cover stitch is a good idea. It's more comfortable, it'll blend more, it won't be as bulky or scratchy. Overlock seams are already so bulky. A lot of my serger thread is lighter weight, but a lot of the thread I use for my industrial machine isn't serger thread, and I'm using it as serger thread. This is the one that lost its guide, so now they're not separate, and I'm just noticing this. Oh, interesting, Chantel. You hate changing threads and needles? I hate doing it on camera. Okay, this is you. I just want a studio assistant to be like, let me do that for you right away, Miss Duffy. Let me thread that for you. Would you like a cup of hot cocoa, Miss Duffy? Why, yes, I would. Oh my God. This one actually has a needle threader too. I could just try that, but this thread is not wanting to go through. It's because I'm live. It's painful to watch, isn't it? No, Terry, that stuff doesn't dissolve. Wonder Under doesn't dissolve. Is the point of that, Chantal, to stabilize it, and then once you're sewn, it's sewn? So kind of like a more stout starch. Hey, Dagmar, how's it going? Oh, cool. Thanks, Sydney. Nothing's wrong. I'm just threading my machine. I'm about to swap them. Let me swap your machines for you, Miss Duffy. Let me get right on that. There we go. I keep forgetting how the cord goes. All right. We'll do our side seams. This one doesn't have a bra. Okay, this is the right side. How's the red look under the camera? Yeah, I'm not sure what that's called, Terry. I feel like I've heard that too. All right, so we're just doing the side seams. You know, no big deal, right? We've got to get this part so that we can bind it. This fabric's really nice. No, I did not stitch first. No, you. There we go. Okay. Okay, let's change the stitch length. It's just too narrow or too short. Wait. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. That little illustration does not speak to me. There we go. There we go. Okay. All right, and let's do the other side. So we can go back up the other side. Wonder tape, maybe. That's great, Dagmar. I just pull the threads through, but you know, when I'm threading the needles, and it does have this self-threading thing. That's what this is right here. But I feel like it can work and it might not sometimes. And so I may spend too much time working on that. The other day I used it and it was great. I want to keep using it just so it doesn't just like not work someday, you know? All right, now we're gonna go over to the iron and we're gonna press the binding, kind of, with no steam. All right. So now there's two ways we can attach this binding. I prefer the look of one of the ways, but I do think the other way could be a little easier. Hey, Lindsay, how's it going? I know Adrian's here too. Oh, your son's wedding's tomorrow? Wow. Gosh, is that good weather? Yeah, that sounds great. Congratulations, how exciting. I probably don't really need to do this with this fabric. I'm just doing it just as a demonstration. Like if you're having really rolly fabric, like it curls really bad, try some starch. I will say that if you have really curly fabric, just ironing and steaming it will make it worse. So just don't do that. The other thing you can do is, say you can't sew for like 2 weeks, right? If you can't sew for 2 weeks and you've cut your binding, do this. I want you to be really careful. Fold it up like this. Fold it really nice and flat. And then set a book on it. I'm not kidding. Leave it like this until you can sew it. Just leave it nice and flat in your, however you prep your stuff. It works so good, even if you can't starch. I do this a lot. I just fold it up and leave it on my project. I put the pattern envelope on it and a weight or something. Just something. Okay, I really love being able to finally iron out my ironing board, but I'm having a lot of trouble now with the cord. If it's not one thing, it's another with this iron. It has to be so long to reach the nose of my ironing board that, look, it's like dipping below. Look how long this thing is now. It's very, very stiff. All right. I don't think I need my iron anymore. I'm going to turn it off. Hopefully I don't. It won't take long to heat up if so. Okay. I should have seamed at least one of these together. I need the two longest ones. This is the short one. I'm just going to sew it together on my single needle machine. I almost forgot to switch the camera. So I need one long piece, so I'm going to seam this together. I'm not going to overlock it because I don't really want the bulk because we're going to do binding. So I'm just going to use my machine here. this, right? And we're gonna press the seam open. And yes, we have some white thread. It's just how it's gonna be today. That is right sides together, right? Yeah, okay. Okay, so here's the two ways that you can do your binding. So you can fold this in half, wrong sides together, and iron it, right? Overlock it to the camisole, right sides together. So meaning you're gonna sew this to the outer camisole. Is this the edge? Oh my gosh, why is it so hard? So you would overlock this like this, and then you would turn it right side out and cover stitch along this edge, or just top stitch it. So if you want me to show you both ways, I'm happy to do that. The other way is going to be a little bit more ready to wear looking. So it's going to have the clean fold on the outside and then the cover stitch look, the flat on the inside. So if you have a preference, tell me now. Oh, otherwise I'm just going to do it the folded, the second way I described. I'm going to do that throughout. So if you would like me to show you this way, I can. You encourage elopement. It's not about you, Lindsay. It's so funny because, you know, when you're getting married, you realize like, oh, we're doing this for other people. And you're the mother of the groom. I'm just waiting to hear if you guys have any preferences, if you'd like me to demonstrate that. The thing about doing it the way I'm talking about, this other way where you overlock it first, it's not going to make a good strap. And so that's why I'm kind of like, eh. You're curious about both, Blair? You know, this little reaction thing, you know how they have this little reaction thing right here? See this? I can't see what you're typing because of this thing. You see, I have a new what? A new what? Cover stitch, K. You have a something, you know? Yeah, so I'll show you this way. It's not going to be usable for the strap, but let me show you, because you could also do this as a t-shirt edge, all right? So we're going to fold the binding in half, wrong sides together, all right? And we're gonna lay this to the edge there. Now, if you wanna tack this first on your machine, I highly recommend it. I'm actually gonna hang this off a little bit. So let me orient you. This right here is the armhole. This is the neckline, right? So here's these 2 points of the camisole. And we have this piece of fabric folded wrong sides together. I'm hanging off a little bit so I have something to grab. And I'm gonna serge this on. And now that I've got it started, I'm not on my camisole quite yet, so let me just go a little further. Okay. All right, so I'm going to gently pull this piece here, not the camisole, but the binding, and we're just going to attach it like that, right? So I'm gently pulling. It's not like the elastic on the bra because we don't need to stretch the camisole. We're just stretching the binding. It's getting a little bit folded off. It's that whole thing where the machine's pushing it. Okay, so now you see how we have this attached on there. Now we're going to trim this flush and we're going to keep it the same angle, right, as our armhole like this. So we're just going to go boop like that, right? And we're going to do this on the same over here. Like this. Oh, dang, this is actually, because I don't have the red thread, I'm not going to be able to cover stitch. So this is when now you have this not raw, but you have this edge right here. So if this were like, say, a t-shirt or something, you can finish this a few different ways. You can top stitch this right here, push the seam allowance of the serging toward the body of the camisole, and you can stitch this one of three ways that I'm thinking of right now. You could use a single needle chain stitch on your cover stitch, so meaning you get rid of the, you just use the looper, the under thread, and one needle thread, and you do a chain stitch, and that'd be nice and stretchy. You could do a zigzag stitch, so you don't need a cover stitch. You can leave it like this, not at all with a top stitch. You could single needle it on your regular straight stitch machine. And what I would do is just hold it nice and flat. I would stretch it a little bit and then stitch it down. You can cover stitch it as well. And I think actually, I think I'm going to single needle it because I think that's kind of narrow for my cover stitch right there. And then when you cover stitch it, you can either put one needle on the neckband and one needle on the body of the camisole, or both needles on the body of the camisole. So there's a lot of ways to do this. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna thread my single needle machine with red, if I can find some real quick, and we'll stitch that one down that way. I have a bobbin. I said that, Barbara, it was my very first one. Yep, that's chain stitch. So you use your cover stitch and just use the needle and the looper. Come here, Trixie. We can get a red spool. Do I not have a red spool over here? Jeez Louise. I'm low on red thread, that's for sure. It is dire times, man. All right, well, we don't need the serger. We do need the serger. Okay, I'm going to serge this first, the other side. And so I'm going to be doing this in kind of the wrong order in a way. So normally right now I would do your treatment of top stitching now to this edge because you can go right off the edge there, right? So, but because of my thread situation and swapping back and forth between the machines, I'm going to now do this other side, this other binding piece, all right? And what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to guess our strap length right now. So I'm going to just leave off about the amount I used for the fold over elastic, even though I know it's going to be too much. And I'm going to double check. I'm just so nervous I'm not going to have enough of this. It just doesn't seem like a long enough piece. Oh, it's going to be totally fine. Okay, it's going to be totally fine. All right. All right, so here is the other way to do this. All right, where's my... Boy. Okay. This is the... All right, so we're going to... This is how we're going to do this. We're going to leave some strap unsewn here, right? So we have this bit. Do you want me to brighten this up? Brighten this up a little bit. Is that okay? It's not that great. I'm gonna sharpen it a little bit. I just want you to know my hands do not look like that in person. What do you think of that? I think that looks pretty good. All right, you're talking about weddings. All right, so here is that strap, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna leave a little bit unsewn hanging off at the top here, like this, right? And we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna go all the way around. And again, when we get to the other front point, we'll leave the rest of the strap hanging off, okay? So we're gonna put this right sides together. It's like a rubber band. This is the right side. Okay, we're gonna start right sides together and we're gonna overlock this on. And I'm gonna gently pull again. If you don't gently pull, it's gonna be stretched out, or it's just gonna feel like it's barely there. So, oh, I didn't check my junctures here. So just make sure all these little junctures at your seams are smooth. All right. Press your seam allowance to the back and then just gently pull your binding, especially when you use fabric. Fabric is a lot whooshier, right? And then we're going to mark our strap placement. I see my notch right here. Here it is. I don't think gray's the way. I think white's the way. Okay. Oh my gosh. Boy. All right. Where's the other one? Here it is, way over here. Oh my gosh. Let me make this look hard, right? All right. We just need to be able to see where that's at once we're sewn. All right. Gently pulling and just attaching this to the top edge. Oh, no, this isn't when I want the label. Never mind. Press the seam open. That's where I connected my binding to one another. And we're coming around to the other side now. I didn't smooth out that side seam, so I'm just going to trim it off. Okay, so now we're at the other point, and we're going to just go off the edge. And I'm going to press the seam allowance of this toward the body of the camisole. I didn't say that when I started because it was a little bit more intuitive there. Okay, I'll get rid of some of that. Don't cut that off. I almost cut that off. I'm also speaking to myself. All right, so now we have this serged to the edge there. And the next step is to cover stitch it like this. We're going to fold it like that. And we're going to cover stitch it down, right? And when we get to this point here, we're going to have to clean finish this edge. We're going to turn it under a little bit. Is that how I do this? Ooh, I think I'm doing this a little bit different than I normally would. Yeah, right, Patrice? I know. Sometimes I do that with underwear. Because we're using this as the strap, you can see like this, normally what I would do is leave this like flat, right? It's called single fold binding. Single fold is when you're only folding under on one side. And then the other side would have a flat raw edge somehow finished, usually with cover stitch. If you're doing double fold, it means there's a fold on the outside and on the inside clean. It doesn't include the fold happening right here at the edge. It's only the folds where you're stitching that they're counting. So single fold, this is single fold binding. But when we get to the strap here, if we leave this raw, which we can if we want, and what we have to do is make sure that we put this raw edge lined up with this little fold here. I'm having trouble getting it to behave. Well, actually, how do I do this? Ooh. Oh, this is the right side. Yeah, because we'd be doing it from this side. Okay. Yeah, exactly, Patrice. I feel, okay, see you later. My underwear are all such experiments that I feel like the gift to myself this year would be to make a batch of underwear in the way I like. They're all the experiments with things. All right, let's thread this machine with red. And then we'll also have a spool to do the top stitch on the other side, because I only need 3 for my cover stitch. All right. I love this new little table, but it's still a little small. Just put it on my lap. There we go. All right. Of course, I lost all my threads here. What's happening here? Where's the looper? See, this is when my studio assistant would be so handy. Is this flipped around? No, that's yellow. Does it go like that? Oh. I think it goes like this. Why does that seem so far away over there? Sorry, it just looks in the wrong place, but I think it's fine. You can't see what I'm talking about probably. Yeah, I just copied mine too. They work. I have so many underwear patterns. It's probably the one thing I have the most of, and I've never used a single one. I just copied my ones, and I just like those. They work. So many of the ones in the like free and stuff like that in the home sewing world are just not a style I would wear. Or they come in 3 sizes. Like, thanks for the free pattern. All right. Did that pull that camera out? No, it didn't. Okay. Okay, so note to self. Next time we do something in red, we need more thread so we don't have to watch Saremy thread so much, because that's really what's happening here. If these were both threaded with and I switched garments. Usually I'm pretty strategic with when I'm doing like a double garment in a stream, I will pick something that uses the same thread color, so we're not doing this. I know that it's not entertaining. But we're doing the So Frugal thing, so I'm trying to use what I have. Yeah, I feel like you have mentioned that, Terry. I don't know, tailoring menswear is quite a different genre. I feel like you found your genre and you're like, I could sew underwear, but why would I? I have all this other fun stuff I really love sewing. I know you will though someday, because even if you're not planning on making your underwear, which it sounds like you are, I know you're still curious about doing it, and you'll want to know what goes into it, knowing you, so. 6 years, yeah, right, Chantel? Exactly. Yeah, I have a whole thing about why I don't sew bras. Like, I would like to, because I would like the experience of it, but I just don't, and I'm fine with that. It's the only thing I've never I've sewn like sports bras, but that's about it. And I thought last year we had someone contact us, I couldn't include you guys in this, and wanted to sponsor a bra sew along. And they took a lot of my time in emails and then just stopped replying. So yeah, I'm kind of leery with people now. Like paying me with a free pattern? No. free patterns don't pay the bills, you know. I gotta put my thread away. It's in the way. I don't think it's generous to give someone a free pattern when you're promoting their stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't planning on sewing this, so it's not like something I needed. Okay. Man, this poor machine just gets piled with stuff when it's not the primary. Oh, cool. I don't know who that is. Do they have a business name that maybe I would recognize? That sounds really cool. I grabbed my coaster to do my trial on. Where's my little thing I was doing the stitch demonstration on? Oh, it's right here. Okay. All right. There's quite a few people in the guild that do the Bra August thing. And what's the other thing, Aisha? Aisha went to get her car probably. I can't remember. All right, so let's pull the camera one last time over here. And we're going to top stitch this neckline. Okay. Uh-oh. Oh, I knew that was going to do it. Sorry. I probably need to get a new camera. I think that's what's happening here. I don't want to, though. Why is it blurry? Why is it blurry? It's never blurry. Okay. Bring up the sharpness a little bit. There we go. Yeah, I feel like Eliza, if you switch between elastic like brands and things like that, that happens to me too. All right, so I'm just gonna do this neckline a little bit as an example right here. And so make sure you're using a ballpoint needle if you're doing knits. I actually just learned something really cool about ballpoint needles and stretch needles, but I'm gonna save it for the skill building session tomorrow, all about seams, settings, and stitches. But you definitely want to use a ballpoint needle, especially when you're doing knits like this, because you don't want to pierce the fiber. And a regular needle, you run the risk of it piercing the fiber, and then you get a run in the fabric, all right? That's why you'll see like runs coming up from your hems of your shirts and stuff. All right, so normally this wouldn't be here, right? So we're just going to stitch here. I'm going to be real sneaky and put it there. I'm going to change my stitch length a little bit. I'd already made it a little long. And now I'm going to push the seam allowance down and slightly stretch this nice and smooth. I'm going to pull this nice and smooth like this. Why does the quality look so funky? It's a tomato red in the camera. In here, it's a watermelon red. We all know which one Saremy would pick for the reds, right? Hi, Rachel. Oh, I did do that for, I'm not using elastic right now. But yeah, I think you're right for what Eliza's saying. Yeah. Aggressive. I like the added visual of aggressive. All right. All right, so this actually looks, nice. Oh, can you even see that? What's going on with this camera? Is that blurry or what? What's going on? Why is it blurry? Is that blurry? To me, that doesn't look great. Sorry. You have to serve that. That looks a little better. Exactly. There we go. It's okay. I looked at chat like twice, and that's exactly right there where I looked at it. Red is just awful. This is why I don't sew red on camera. All right, we're gonna do the binding now, right? So we have this whole long piece. Let's just look at it and get oriented here. So our last step, besides hemming this, I probably won't even hem this on camera just because we hemmed the other shirt and I just don't want this to drag on for you guys. So we're gonna fold this over and we're gonna use the cover stitch. So like this little seam right here is a good example of, we really want this to be a nice, smooth transition. Say it with me, right? Get rid of that. Let me make it look really hard too. There we go. And we're going to push the seam allowance up toward the binding and fold this over just like this. Now, I personally think it's worth clipping all of this because it's really fiddly. You don't have to if you don't want to. I'm going to just because why not? We can sit here and do this together. Sorry, you can fast forward it if you're watching this as a replay. When you see me switch to the machine, you'll know I'm about to sew it. So I'm going to do a few landmarks. So this is the side seam right here, and I'm going to fold this one here. And that's just so I don't get any torquing. You really want to make sure you're folding it directly across from itself, just like that. And I'm going to put that raw edge just past the overlock because I have a feeling it'll creep a little bit. So I might as well make sure that I enclose it. So now let's find a little halfway point. It's my fancy way of finding a halfway point. No, we're going to use clips because we're serging. We do not use pins. We're going to clip it. I rarely use pins. I find them just a little bit fussy for me. In general, and so that means I rarely use clips too, I will admit, but we're going to today. I don't mind. I'm trying to decide what I did here for the strap though on that Luna thing. The Luna camisole is different in that what you do is you sew. Oh, you do the front neck, and remember it's reversible, right? So the front and the back look identical. So both the front and the back have the little points right there, right? So you do the neck on both, and then you do a whole loop for the armhole. That's how you do those. It's a little different. So when we get to the strap here, you have this raw edge, and we're going to stitch along the edge there. And I really didn't give myself much seam allowance there either. Yeah, you do. Did your sister get married yet, Sydney? I feel like I asked you that last time, but I didn't. Either I didn't see the answer, or maybe you had to take off, and you didn't hear me. When's her wedding? I am so awkward at this, aren't I? So I'm trying to make this like as clean as possible, considering we're going to have this one raw edge, right? Oh, you did. Did I miss it? Oh my gosh. Well, that's exciting. Your little wrap you made for her was perfect. What a great save. Maybe we could iron this. Maybe I should iron this instead of clip it. Oh my gosh, I've been trying to get my knitting project going. And I don't know why I'm not. It's like, it would have been the most mindless sweater for me to knit when I was knitting a lot. I just can't get going. All right, I'm gonna see about ironing this without clips. But we'll bring the clips just in case, you know? We're not maniacs. I mean, we kind of are, but... Okay. Look at all these. Oof, I do not like the clips. Let's see. Can we do this without clips? First, we're just going to iron it in half. We've starched it, right? So in some ways, the starch is our friend. We turned the iron off too, so let's let that warm up. Oh yeah, I'm sorry you've been sick too, Sydney. Oh, that's probably true, Lindsay, but are they shorter in depth? Because I don't want more clips, honestly. I don't hardly ever use these, you know, so it's fine. I'm just waiting for my iron to warm up a little bit. The only way to jinx yourself that you need your iron is when you say, I probably won't need my iron anymore. This is a really long piece of this. Okay. Let's see if we can continue from the part that's clipped here. I don't want to use steam, right? Because of the... I really want to use steam. It's so hard not to push that button. You get addicted to that button with this iron, man. The steam is so good. Yeah, they have these little clips. They're really cute. All right. You know what's funny is I've been going through, my husband's grandmother passed recently, which everybody knows. And I have gotten a lot of like cloth items in various forms of hers. Linens and souvenirs and, you know, souvenir aprons from places and stitching and blah, blah, blah. And some of it must have been sitting on the ironing board here enough that I can smell her perfume. She liked to wear a lot of perfume. I'm not really selling this method of sewing knit binding, am I? Oh, by the way, you can get an attachment to do this. I just don't have it. And I can't find it for my Juki. I looked. Oh, look at that. That was so much easier to do that one edge first and then come around and do this. What do we think? We think that will stay? Feels pretty good. I'm just going to put a couple clips in there. It's the same depth. Oh, okay, cool. Because I was going to say I would need that depth. This is the one thing I'm finding at this depth is just very not, it's barely there, you know. All right, let's iron this side. Just iron it all. I bought this little box of them thinking, oh, I'll use these more. And I just hardly ever use them. But I have about 10 or 20 at home. I thought I was going to try sewing at home last year or the year before. But Saremy's kind of a baby about what machine she uses. So I didn't. I was like, oh, this thing's too long with my home machine. And I really like the pressure of my industrial machine a lot. The presser foot pressure. All right. Yeah, I am going to iron this, sorry. Just fast forward. Except for all you live people. Go get a snack, get a glass of water, use the restroom, whatever you need to do. Or just come back when you can fast forward it. I don't care. I was really shocked by the views of the drafting the camisole video yesterday. I was checking in on the Elmwood just because I wanted to see, oh, how is the Elmwood video doing? It's not my video. Like, I made the video for Cashmerette, but it's not my video. It doesn't matter how well it's doing for me because it's not monetized and it's not mine to promote, right? It's awesome that it's on my channel because I like having as many tutorials as possible on here. And I was curious. I was like, oh, I wonder how many, how many people are into this. And I thought I was looking at the stats for the Elmwood, but I was looking at I just assumed the larger number was the Elmwood for sure because it's Cashmerette. Not me. But you guys really wanted to learn how to draft a camisole, which makes me really happy because I really love drafting and I really want to do more drafting. It gives me hope that you guys might be interested in that. But the views were double the Elmwood. I was really surprised. I gotta say entertaining things right now during this really boring part. See, this is when you wish you watched someone do a lot of knits and they're like, ugh, I used to do that too, but now I have this super nifty magic trick. Just reading chat. Home stretch. You got this. But this will be easier. It's really annoying that this little edge here got caught. You can't see it, but it kind of folded back on itself when I started. So, all right, so this time I'm gonna fold this little short edge up. Oh man. There we go. There's no magic, just tears and seam rippers. No tears. Plenty of seam ripping though. Seam rippers are awesome. Seam rippers are the true heroes. That's literally one of the tenets I started my channel on, Patricia. Was I've been that sewer sitting at my sewing machine at 11:30 at night, just like in tears. And I don't like that. I don't want anyone to feel that way. So I really wanted to be that, like a companion and help where I could. All right. I hope this works. Let's see. I haven't done this since the last time I sewed a camisole like this, so yeah, let's go for it. Let's try. Why are you itchy? What'd I miss? Oh gosh, yeah. Oh, we're on the other machine. Okay, look away. Meow. We always need the sound effects, right? How do we like that? Oh my goodness. Okay. All right, so we're going to start at one end, one strap, and then we're going to go all the way around. And we're going to put the needle right along this raw edge here. We want to enclose it, right? This is another one where cheating would be great, where you could overlock that edge, do all this ironing, and then sew the cover stitch from the inside so you could see it. That would be a lot easier. All right, so I'm just looking at that raw edge right here, making sure it's where I think it is. Ooh, this thread is kind of chunky. My camera cord is in the way. Didn't lock it up, okay. Oh boy. It's pushing my work out from under the needle. It's really annoying. There's probably a groove in the presser foot. You see how there's this long line right here that's wanting to line up to this. I don't really want it to do that, but here we are. It's kind of hard to fight. I would probably practice this a little bit more. Okay. So now we're gonna just check our raw edge, and remember I kind of slightly stretched this on, so we need to respect that a little bit. See, so we'll pull this down, hold it there. Check it. I'm cheating. Ooh, I've way too much there. I'm too paranoid. It looks so good. I don't know why I'm second guessing, but I am. I lift it up. I make sure that this is, you know, just going to this overlock edge there. And then I do the next section. Again, same thing. If I lift it up, it stays there. I don't know why I'm getting paranoid. Okay, that looks a little better. I went over that seam really nice. I'm kind of gently, I'm being a little firm with this too, since I know we stretched it when we attached it. Let's put these right here. I'm like, okay. Oh, this one slipped a little bit more. This would have been the time to put your label in, by the way. Sorry, I forgot to tell you to tack it in there. I didn't get one in either. All right, we're almost to the end here. Okay. I'm too close to the edge. This is, in my opinion, this is going pretty badly. It'll be okay, but practicing, this is a good practice, right? The cover stitch is doing great. It's just the lining up. It's just like, I would probably think of a different way to do this altogether. Yep, exactly. Oh, cool, Liza. That's awesome. All right, well, it looks better on the wrong side than I thought it would. Let's see. Full transparency. That's a little bit of a party in here. That's where I started. It is really nice and soft, though. Yeah, I know. It's not easy, Shem. It's another reason why. And plus now I have this setup over here. I'm kind of working on refining it so that it works better. The lighting is for the most part, much better over here. I mean, from the outside, this looks okay, you know? Red is just awful. This is why I never sew red. I love red too, but I just never sew it. All right, so I just need to do the hem. But we're going to tack the straps over here, and then we're going to call it good. One more camera change. Last one. Thanks for putting up with it. My whole idea was to use the pattern table camera, and then I realized I can't because I do cord management with all the cords, and so it would be just like way too much, like pulling it apart. Surgery's next Friday. Let's put this on my dress form, actually. You know? Let's see. The strap length that we want. I have to admit, having a little red camisole seems kind of fun. Even if I just sleep in it. It's cute. Ooh, yeah, that looks kind of bad. My other one looked so good. I really didn't do so good this time. There's no bra to like find the spot where it hangs. Trixie is, I swear, she's more sway-backed than me. Okay, let's flip this like this, like that. All right, and then there's the putting the side seams at the side seam and just looking for that strap placement. There's the pins. I'm stuck on my chair. My new Carolyn pajamas have red in them. They were blue, remember? They were blue with little mushrooms. The ones I sewed in January? No red. I'm trying to think the last time I sewed red. My Upton dress. I have a red Upton dress. Yeah, the original Carolyn's is like a floral, a red floral. So you see how these straps, oh sorry, I didn't realize it was so close. I forgot I moved the camera back. So see, the straps are much more pliant, right? They're going to be a lot more stretchy with the fabric style. So be a little more aggressive with how you pin those. This looks, it's okay. It's I'm just trying to see if they're about the same. All right. Thank you, Trixie. All right. No, definitely not gaping. I'm not worried about gaping for sure. That little like gentle tug really helps that, you know? And the thing it's the sewing that for me is a problem. The pattern I think is going to be great, you know? So one thing you could do, since this is fabric, is you could overlock across this little edge here. You could also maybe turn it under. Let's give ourselves a little bit to turn under here. But yeah, this is definitely not my best sewing. The steps are correct. I think there's better ways you could do it. But using home machines with what we have, you know. Oh, you know, that's funny, Rachel. I was going to mention that because I think if even if you use fold over elastic, you could use sliders, because one of my camisoles does have that. And then you don't have to worry so much about the strap length. So you also have to be able to sew the ring in. So, you know, like this end here would have like a little strap coming up with a ring so that the strap could pass through it, because it needs to be able to slide so that you can adjust it. So yeah, that's another option. If you're like, oh, my camisoles are toast and I just want to get rid of them, you might be able to salvage some of the hardware, right? I'm going to see if I can, thanks, Julia, that's nice of you. I'm going to see if I can, yeah, if this was like that, I'm going to see if I can enclose that like that. All right. So we're going to pull this down here like this, right? And now I'm going to stitch the first pass. I'll explain this better once I get it to work so you can see what I'm doing. So I sewed that first pass with the raw edge almost to the top of this fold here. Not quite though, right? I just went right past this stitching down here, the bottom row, right? So now what I can do is I can pull this strap up like this, and then my second pass of stitching right here is going to enclose that somewhat. My needles are a little close together to do the enclosing. So I got a little bit off there, but then it's a little cleaner and softer on the inside here. I'm really not worried about how it looks anymore, because I just think that the sewing is just too mediocre for spending too much time agonizing over this part, right? It's really great practice at this point and great for experiments now. Yeah, right, Sydney, exactly. Yeah, I was thinking that, Rachel, because one of the camisoles I want to replace, I'm like, oh, I'm just going to keep this hardware. And I've kept some on other things before. So it's sometimes just it's not hard to come by then, you know, if you just have the past hardware. All right, so again, I'm going to sew it from this side, though. I'm so worried I'm twisting it, though. So let's just double check it since we're worried. All right, not twisted. Badly sewn, but not twisted. All right. All right, we're going to do it from this side, though. And I need to swap my pin direction. Ow! You know, look, oh my gosh. The biggest thing, one of the worst things that has happened in the home sewing industry right now is the quality of sewing pins. Sorry about that, you guys. I'm getting ticked. I'm getting heated. All right, let me put this back on here. Yeah, usually you're watching a live streamer and it's a gamer and they're having like ragey moments, but you know, you come here and you're like, ooh, I can chill here. There we go. Pull this up. Let me get rid of this little thread here. Yeah, you know, my problem with sewing camisoles is matching the elastic if I want fold over, you know, which is obviously faster, right? And a little less fussy. I think a lot of people would think the fabric wouldn't be, but, you know, we just don't really have the machines for sewing this. I want a single fold binding attachment for my serger, but I just can't find one. And I'm pretty sure I can get one for my old baby lock, which makes me not want to sell it now. This is like, oh, sorry. This is not my best sewing. The drafting is really good, though. Yeah, and like I said, you could do the elastic strap with sliders as well. So I have both styles, I think, or I've had one with elastic straps with sliders. I only have one ready to wear camisole anymore. And it has sliders, but they used spaghetti strap, knit spaghetti strap, and I just wouldn't wish making knit spaghetti strap on anybody. So, you know, I really like the Boeing needle pins I got, Shem, from the Fabric Godmother box. These are, oh no, these aren't them. They're at home. I actually have them at home. These might be them. Yeah, I think these are them. They're not too long. They're very thick. They're strong. They're sharp. All right. I keep thinking there's a seam right here, but it's just an iron fold. I'm like, how did I do that? I know that really tacky seam is back here. Is the face cam red better? It's a little better. It's not great. Turquoise and red are really hard to get on camera, but... Well, thanks for enduring that with me. Saturday, I'm going to be having I'm not going to be working on anything in particular. I don't know what I'm going to be sewing on Saturday. But you're welcome to come and hang out. If you have questions about whatever you're sewing, or if you're doing camisoles and you want some more help, or you want to experiment on things, you know, feel free to stop by and do that with me. It's not going to be like in the guild. I have a community called So Guild, and we have workshops where people can come and bring whatever. It's not going to be like that because I won't be able to see you. But if you want to bring something and need some help, just let me know. I'm just going to be sewing on something. I don't know what yet. And I want to do an experiment. I would really like to get more comments on my videos. You guys are chatting up a storm here, and I appreciate that. But when the video is done, or any kind of video I post, I would really love to get more comments if you guys didn't mind. It really helps my channel. The likes are nice, that's great. Subscribing, that's great. But those don't help my channel in the way that YouTube looks at it. It helps viewers because viewers go, oh, okay, this person has a lot of subscribers, they must be pretty good, or that video has a lot of likes, it must be pretty good. YouTube doesn't care about those things. YouTube really cares about interaction, and just chatting in my stream, they don't count that, even though it's really awesome because I love it when you guys talk. A live streamer never knows if someone's going to show up, let alone talk. So yeah, so it's really helpful if you just, even if it's just a thumbs up or a smiley face or a check mark, it doesn't matter if you, or if you want to say something. So I appreciate it. It really helps. So yeah, exactly, Shem. I mean, you can, I'm about to end and you can just go then, but yeah, exactly. You can't, I've tried to do the same exact thing. I'm like, dang it, I want to comment. I try not to chat in people's live streams that are sewing related because I feel like it looks like self-promotion. So, you know, the algorithm works though, you guys. The thing is, it really does work, but it works based on engagement. And YouTube is catching up with live streaming. They're doing better. They've done a lot better, great things for live streaming. But they've been more of an uploaded video platform. And Twitch dominated the live streaming thing. So they're catching up though. I'll try to. I need to do that, Eliza. I don't, because I'm just like, whatever, people can do whatever. You know, like we all know the like, comment, and subscribe, and you don't need to be told that, right? So you don't even have to do this on my video. Any video you like by somebody, if you want them to stick around doing what they're doing because you like it, comment on it. That's all. So yeah, the shorts thing is a huge topic amongst YouTubers because they just started monetizing those. They have to pay attention to this because of like platforms like TikTok. But I don't know if you guys want to talk about this, but I have done tests with the monetization between Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts. Instagram Reels are really hard to compete with because Instagram is throwing money at it. But find anybody who's been paid over $100 or $101 on Instagram. You're not going to, unless there's someone that would never tell you that because they're so huge, right? So they are just paying anybody $100 a month to post Reels if you just kind of make that little tiny, it's a tiny threshold. Instagram Shorts, I've gotten like 1.5 pennies total. Whereas Instagram, I get like $100 a month. And like lately, I probably won't because I'm not posting on there. But, and TikTok, I don't get anything on there. I don't focus on that at all. I don't really care about it. But for me, it's always going to be this form. It's either going to be uploaded videos or live streams on YouTube. Those are my formats, whatever happens. Doing a little reel or short takes me almost as much time. Not always, but it takes me a long time. It's a lot harder work for the minute. So yeah, algorithm info is very interesting, and it's really not, people are very frustrated by it, but the thing is it works. It works. But you have to get engagement. If you can't get found in the first place, that's a problem. So if you're having trouble, like you're, I'm not an expert. If you're a sewing YouTuber though, there may be some of you here are sewing YouTubers and you need to get like, you need to make those thresholds and stuff. Driving traffic to your YouTube, it's hard, but that's what you have to focus on, right? My Instagram life is different than my YouTube life. I'm pretty sure it would be really cool to see the statistics of how many people on Instagram even know this is what I do. Because I don't post on Instagram like, here, look at me, here's my new make, right? I'm usually like posting something because we did it in a YouTube video. Or, you know, someone just posted a how-to video that I made for them and they're finally launching it. And I'll be like, oh, here's the garment I made during that video, right? Especially if the video lives on my channel, I'm going to do that a little bit. But like, here's the thing, like the Elmwood skirt yesterday or any of the things I do like that is a non-monetized video. And YouTube is not going to promote it, right? They're going to be like, well, we don't care about that video. It's not monetized. So I really don't get subscribers from even doing those because, I mean, maybe I do, but like the first one I did, I think I got like 10 new subscribers that first week. So, you know, that's the thing is like, It's not about subscribers, it's about engagement. YouTube does see engagement. They're like, oh, we see people engaging with this video, but it's not monetized, so why would we promote it? So it does kind of work, but it, so someone who hasn't even made the monetization threshold, there could be ads on their channel, but they're not getting revenue from it, the YouTuber. And they could have a video go viral. They could have millions of views and not even have 1,000 subscribers. So it just doesn't matter. Subscribers doesn't matter. Yeah, exactly. So traditionist. Yeah. Locals and Rumble. I've never heard of those. Well, I mean, it doesn't, like, just because I didn't monetize the video doesn't mean there won't be ads. It just means I don't get the income from it. But I think that they won't put an ad interrupting the video. I have that control over it. So I'll probably talk to people anytime I do videos like that and say, hey, it's better for your video if it's monetized. I won't get much money. See it, Marlies? It'll be like $7. You know, I'll get like $7 on a live stream total for the year. So it's not like it's going to be a big deal for them. Like, I'm not like, oh, you paid me for this video, now I'm double dipping. It'll just be better if you want more people to see it. It's better in YouTube's eyes, right? Because they need to satisfy their advertisers, which just makes sense. So on the ads on Instagram, Patrice, you should go to the 3 dots and then say you don't like it. I hate suggested content. And I'm like, no, I don't want to see this for 30 days. Oh, that's cool. See, I mean, Vimeo is an incredible video platform. But do you ever see their videos? It's closed. And so I have a lot of videos on there for things like patterns and stuff. And it costs just too much for me to be on there. Anyway, I didn't mean to like co-opt you with all this talk. I was just kind of doing an experiment like, hey, would you mind commenting? And now you're like, shut up, Saremy, so we can comment and go and eat lunch. So yeah, try it, Patrice. I have a business account. If you don't have a business account, make your account a business account. It doesn't matter. Anyone can have a business account. That's my little tip to you guys. Make your Instagram account a business account and you won't get ads. I don't get any. Maybe, Bonnie. I think that you could do a wider strap. It might be easier to sew. Absolutely, Anne. My pleasure. Yeah, thanks for coming, you guys. Sorry, it was a little bit of a slog on this thing, but hey, got a little red camisole. It looks terrible on camera. My God. I love red, though. All right, you guys, I'll see you Saturday if you want to hang out and sew with me. 11 a.m. Pacific, same time, same place. And if you have any questions about drafting your camisole or sewing it, let me know in the comments or let me know wherever you see me. Bye, guys.